أيديكم ويعفو عن كثير. صدق الله العظيم. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: المسلمون كرجل واحد، إن اشتكى عينه اشتكى كله، وإن اشتكى رأسه اشتكى كله، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope everyone is well and doing good on this blessed day of Jummah. Today I want to address and speak about a matter that has been very devastating and something that we've been seeing all over the media. You open up your Facebook, you open up your social media, you open up even your WhatsApp, you get these messages. And we all are very aware of what I'm referring to as the situation in Palestine. The very unfortunate situation in Palestine, the dhulm, the oppression that is happening there. And I want to just talk about this. As Muslims, we are not such individuals where if we see something happening, we just walk by it and just let it be. Muslim people, we are reactive, we are proactive, we stand for right, we stand for justice. And I want to talk about how, as us Muslims, two ways we are to stand in any situation. The Prophet ﷺ has told us in a hadith, "Man ra'a minkum munkaran falyughayyirhu biyadihi, فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه, فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه, وذلك أضعف الإيمان." The Prophet ﷺ has instructed us that if you see any wrongdoing at all, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ, you should take a stand, you should do something about it. بِيَدِهِ, with your physical capacities. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, if you cannot do that much, use your tongue, speak out about justice. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, if you do not have that much capacity, at least feel in your heart that such an action is wrong. Because if we feel in our heart that that is perfectly fine, then the Prophet ﷺ said the person who feels it's wrong in his heart, ذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ, that's the weakest level of iman. If you go below that, Allah protect from that situation. As Muslims, we are responsible. And as we see many, mashallah, last week and even this week, there's many protests, many people are going to speak about it. And there's great gatherings. Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi has said that such is permissible, such is mubah. But we need to remember that when we are going and we're doing anything good in Islam, a simple example is given of a white cloth. That if a person sees a white cloth, it's beautiful, it looks nice. But if you have a red or black or some stain or dot on the middle of it, you could look at it look nice, but that one dot will distract you. That one dot will distract you. So when we are doing something good, we cannot indulge in the ma'asiyah, we cannot indulge in various things that we might see in these type of gatherings. Mixing in the gatherings, listen to having music playing in certain types of gatherings. We need to restrain from such, because just like that white cloth, if you have a black cloth on it, it will taint it. So when it comes to standing up, that is one physical form. But I want to reflect on a different aspect that we tend to forget, looking at the Battle of Uhud. Briefly, a synopsis of the history of Uhud, the Battle of Uhud, as to what had happened. The Prophet ﷺ had put certain archers. He put certain archers on a mountain and instructed them that you need to stay here for the whole entire battle. It doesn't matter if it appears as though we have won. You need to stay here and stay put. As the battle began, the Muslims, they had a stronghold at the initial part of the Battle of Uhud. And the kuffar, the disbelievers, they started retreating. Now, the archers were positioned on the mountain. They were instructed that do not leave this position at all costs. A couple of the archers believed, they said that, you know what, the battle's done, the goods of war are there, let's go. Some of the archers said, no, we need to stay. The Prophet ﷺ instructed us to stay here. Some of the archers left. The disbelievers saw that there was an opening, since many of the archers had left and they had struck from behind the mountain. Now, reflecting on what happened in this battle, there was a clear command. There's a clear command from Prophet ﷺ. And some individuals had disobeyed the command of Prophet ﷺ. And as a result of that in action, many of the Muslims were injured, many died. A hadith that I mentioned earlier, that the Prophet ﷺ has explained how the ummah is. Al-Muslimuna karajulun wahid. That the collective ummah is one unit. The people who were injured in the battle of Uhud, they didn't do anything wrong. But there was other individuals who had disobeyed the Prophet ﷺ. And as a result of their disobedience, others were harmed. The ummah is like this. That is quite possible that our ma'asiyah, our forms of disobedience, we might not listen to the commands of Allah, and we know how we are as individual Muslims. And this is what our purpose of that we just had a blessed Ramadan, to practice on that taqwa, to practice on the restraint, practice on that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We spent the whole entire month so we can do this. So we know better on ourselves, on our own individual level, as to what types of ma'asiyah, what type of disobedience we have. So when it comes to standing up for right, yes, we stand up for right by speaking as well, but we need to also reflect. As I mentioned, that an individual's action is not restrained to himself. An individual's actions and the consequences are not restrained to ourselves. It is quite possible that we see the oppression around the world, and it's due to our ma'asiyah, our forms of disobedience, that such and such is happening. So it's very important that we need to reflect upon what we do on an individual basis. We need to reflect upon what type of ma'asiyah I'm doing. And one more point I'd like to address is that we have forgot the roots of Islam. We have forgot what the Prophet ﷺ has instructed us when musibat comes, when a problem comes. We learn in the hadith that when إِذَا حَزَبَهُ أَمْرًا, whenever any situation was to come, any problem was to be presented, Prophet ﷺ, the first thing he would do, he would rush to the masjid. He would rush to salah. He would rush to dua. This is our stronghold. This is our strength. The tool of the believer is not our money or our resources, but it's our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is our dua, it is our salah, our ibadat. When we let that go, we have nothing. We have no strength, we have no power, we have no resources. A simple example is given to understand the power of the believer and the power of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that if the whole entire world wants to protect one individual, the whole entire world wants to protect one individual. We know all the resources the world has. But if Allah wants to harm that individual, there's nothing the whole world can do. And if Allah wants to protect an individual, Allah wants to protect that individual, the whole world can try everything they have, all the resources, all the weapons they have. But if Allah wants to protect that individual, nothing can be done. And we see this in the stories of the Prophet ﷺ. When Musa ﷺ, he was against the Pharaoh. He had a huge army. He had so many resources. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to protect him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to protect him. Allah opened the sea for Musa alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam, being thrown into fire, a huge fire. Fire has a property to burn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed the quality and the property of fire to make it that it was cool. So when it comes to standing up in the face of oppression, in the face of calamities, anywhere, any type, we need to remember that yes, we do stand up, we do raise our voice. The Prophet ﷺ said that the greatest form of resistance is kalimatu haqqin inda sultanin jairin, that you raise your voice, you speak about it, but it's not restricted to that. We need to remember that our actions and the consequences of our actions are not restrained to ourselves. We need to reflect upon what we do, what type of ma'asiyah we might perform, because the consequences can be somewhere else. And lastly, we need to remember that our strongest tool, our strongest thing that we have is our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we forget that, if we lose that, we really do not have anything. So I make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alleviate all the problems of all the Muslims all around the world. And any problem that we have, that we remember these three simple things, that how to matter these, how to take action. So my dear respected brothers, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the ummah, protect us, and guide us all. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Assalamu alaikum. A few announcements. So inshallah, again, every Friday we'll have the talk. The Friday reminder will be live at 1 p.m. every week. You can continue to join online at masjid.ca. We have resumed the weekly Sirah Halaqah, which will be 7 p.m. on Thursday evenings. 7 p.m. on Thursday evenings for the weekly Sirah Halaqah. You can sign up, listen in online at masjid.ca. Tafsir and adult Arabic classes will also resume next week. As I mentioned, all our programs are streamed live at masjid.ca live stream, and you can also, if you miss a program, you can come later on and catch the recording, and you can subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. So we've mentioned this before, so we're now open for all 5 daily prayers. The capacity, of course, is limited, as you know. The wudu area and washrooms are closed, so please come prepared for prayers and follow the volunteers' instructions. On Thursday, May 7th, on Thursday from 7:30 to 8:30, Brock Elementary School is having an open house. And also, there's a high volume of applicants for primary grades, so we'll do our best to accommodate everyone. So again, visit masjid.ca for more information. Lastly, we make dua for those who are sick and those who have passed away. Assalamu alaikum.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله